Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Sifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers everything from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links can be found in the description for everything we discuss, so let's get on with it. So this week we have the first episode of 10 for the All-Stars. Sandy is back for Around the Verse, and we hear the latest on the baby PU. If you are still to sign up to the RSI website, please use my referral code as shown on screen or in the description, and you'll receive 5,000 United Earth credits which can be spent in the Voyager Direct store for your ships, your character, or whatever you choose. You don't have to spend anything to sign up. It's only once you pledge that I'll be granted an RP point, which will get me some little rewards in the future. So kicking off this week, we have the first episode of 10 for the All-Stars, where we have 4 people from each discipline. We've got designers, producers, writers. First question being, who starts the idea process for a ship or a planet? And they say planets generally originated with the lore team, but there's many people in every department that suggest things. There's not one starting point. So if a ship gets suggested by anyone within the company or a planet, then it will be considered, and if taken forward, they will produce it. Next question, how has the ship pipeline and development process changed since the original ship packages were on sale? And they say that they had to build the pipeline as they were building the ships, hence all the revamps we're seeing with the Constellation and the Freelancer. They said it's important to get things like pipelines fleshed out as early as possible, as it helps with the development tenfold. With the Endeavour, for example, they said that everyone was involved from the instant it was started, and it's also very important to get a ship in-game as soon as possible so that they can test it out, fly it, make sure the thrusters are in the right place, and that's before everything has been designed and fleshed out. So next question is, will the star map be available on the App Store, and can we download an offline map? Now they say they're looking into the ability of having an Android or an iPhone app, but offline mode they're not too sure yet. That will have to be something Turbulent will control. So fingers crossed we get it soon so we can plot our routes while we're on the bog. Moving on, what is DataForge? And they say it's how the XML files are integrated into the game. It's to support objects and all the elements of the game, and they're using it in Squadron 42 currently, but it will be pushed to work in the live game or the persistent universe. It is taken over from StatMonkey, which again, they just help control massive XML files and drives all the data. Anyway, final question that I've picked out is, how will peaceful occupations be exciting, and how big a priority will it be moving forwards? So a very important question for those who do not want to partake in much combat. Now they say that the star maps, currently the star map that we have shows hostile zones, and you can move within those to avoid combat to a certain degree. So they will be policed zones where if people open fire on you, then they are breaking the law and they will be targeted by the UEE police and military. For higher rewards, then there will need to be higher risks. So if you are needing to go and get something that is worth much more UEC than just a simple trade run within a policed system, then you're going to have to take the risk and possibly be involved in combat. Things like the PvP slider will also help, but it won't completely allow you to avoid combat. There will be a chance that you will end up in combat. You can always run, so if you came to a point and there were pirates closing in, be them players or NPCs, you can get out of there. You will hopefully have the time if you're quick enough to quantum travel or jump out of the area. But not only that, there will be lots of support roles that will help you avoid combat. So you could always be in active combat, or your team could be, but you could be helping your team rather than fighting, for example, in the engine room, making sure the engine's working, putting out fires and so forth. Also, the Endeavour has many peaceful roles. As we know about, you can farm, you can do science research. That's not to say that you won't get suddenly attacked by a pirate, but if you are in a safe area with lots of police, then you should be quite safe yourself. I am kind of glad, personally, that combat has come first with Arena Commander, although it does kind of give an example as to what people may think will be happening in the persistent universe the majority of the time. I think what will happen is, over time, it will start to quieten down with PvP, and people will begin to just enjoy the game rather than constantly fight. There will be people fighting, as this is what makes the game a whole, but I think with having combat first off with Arena Commander, and also having Arena Commander as a place to fight in, it will hopefully, when the game is released, people will be more involved in the more peaceful lines of work. They did say they're very conscious that people don't want so much combat all the time, and so they will make sure that every base is covered, so you will be able to be in combat should you want to, but you can also play it peacefully. Something they said was that the community will help drive peaceful activities as well and create work, such things as taxi services, which do sound like quite a cool idea. Anyway, that was the 10 for the All-Stars that I've picked out. Tell me your thoughts.
Coming up on the Empire Report, police are on the lookout for 3 suspects after another CTR fuel station is defaced with anti-Jean messages. We take a hard look at what this recent outbreak of xenophobic crimes could mean for lasting interspecies peace.
Bananas. Have we eaten our last one? As a dangerous blight spreads across the agriculture sectors of the Empire, the beloved breakfast fruit may be facing extinction.
Original Systems kicks off ACON, their Empire-wide Arena Commander competition. We'll take you to the floor and meet the virtual pilots who are battling for the title of True Arena Commander.
All that and more on the next Empire Report at 2200 SET.
So on to Around the Verse, episode 2.04. Now as we just heard in the Empire Report, something about the end of bananas and ACOM, which is the Arena Commander competition. Now this sounds like something they will put into the game. They've mentioned before that esports will play a role in Star Citizen, and you'll be able to watch the final of the Starter Ball or maybe the Murray Cup in a bar on the TV. They'll live stream it and all sorts of stuff, so you will be able to compete and win and make a name for yourself. Does sound kind of cool, this AC competition. I would completely suck, so I won't be taking part, but hopefully they'll implement that very, very soon. So on to Sandy and Ben. Sandy is back from the UK. She is now back in the LA office. They say the 1.3 patch, which was currently on the PTU, is now live. It is available for people to practice with. It is available for everyone. They are also opening specific ships and weapons for free so that we can test them. This includes the Cutlass and the Hornet so far, plus the new weapons that have been released. So get in there and give them a go and leave them your feedback. The Saber concept sale is over, unfortunately, so if you missed it, there will be another sale later on down the line, but it most likely won't come with LTI and it'll be a little more expensive perhaps. Anyway, straight on to news from around the verse. Starting with Santa Monica CIG. They ask for your feedback on the 1.3. Now they did say it was for the PTU, but they still need your feedback for the current live stream as well. They're working on the P-72 Archimedes concept, which is the race variant of the Merlin, which sounds very cool. It's also a luxury variant that I think comes with, is it the 890 jump? I could be wrong there. Maybe the Phoenix. Anyway, Marker Bent is optimizing the radar system to make it more accurately detect and identify opponents, so it makes it more effective. Anyway, on to Austin, Texas CIG. Now, they just mentioned again that there was no more Ilphonic updates as their role or their contract for creating Star Marine has been completed and it's now been passed on to Austin, Texas. There was no bad blood, there was no falling out, it was purely just the end of their contract. They also wanted to do a shout out to Ilphonic as they have got a new project which is on Kickstarter called Friday the 13th, which is a horror game. So I'll try and find a link. Check it out in the description if you feel like backing it, do so. They are concepting new clothing and gizmos. The artists are creating more hairstyles and some more Million Mile High Club assets. Animators are working on player and NPC animations for the next big update, which is going to be 2.0. That is the next update we will get. Still no date, unfortunately, but it should be coming along pretty soon. Work continues also on the female locomotion set, and they will wrap up and test it within a few weeks. So Foundry 42 in the UK, they have spent a lot of time with ship damage effects. They are trying to theme the damage and explosions depending on manufacturer. So like you will probably see with car crashes, they crumple, they break up in set ways depending on the manufacturers with how they have created them. So they're doing the same with ships, so we'll, give us a bit more recognition to these manufacturers. They're also working on environmental and ambient environmental effects for the interiors of 2.0 release, and this includes things like dust clouds in, I think it would be the Kovalex shipping hub, which is supposed to be a derelict hub where you find data recordings to figure out what went wrong. So you'll see little dust mites flying around, it'll appear derelict, and then obviously in the new, well-used environments, they'll have very clean and polished areas. So Foundry 42 in Frankfurt, they're doing a lot of optimizing, which is always good to hear. Also, the work on the procedural planet tech, they say they're making great progress, and there's some cool stuff with atmospherics as far as coming into planets to land. So this should hopefully be procedurally generated planets that you will be able to come through in orbit yourself and land without having an automated sequence. Something I'm sure we are all overly excited to hear about. They're supporting the AI code in zone systems, and AI can now dynamically navigate around space debris. So the interview this week was with vehicle artist Paul DeLessi. Now this is one of the Four Horsemen members who was the winner of the Next Great Starship. He is working to get the Vanguard hangar ready, as I'm sure a lot of you are happy to hear. And also the Redeemer will be going into the pipeline again to be upgraded, sort of have a makeover, and he assumes it will be him doing it. So it's good to hear that as well. A lot of the ships that they brought out before the pipeline was created are having to go back, like the Avenger, like the Cutlass, just to get them all up to date with the standard they should be. After this, there was a behind the scenes CitizenCon 2.0 demo. It is definitely worth watching. Please click the link below for Around the Verse and then follow their timing within their description. It is a lovely piece to show off what work and love went into this demo that they showed us at CitizenCon. Definitely worth a peek. So back to Sandy and Ben, and the most valuable post this week goes to a chap called King Nerd, who has created some realistic Star Citizen paper maps. Now these are incredible. There's a link below to his maps and his Patreon page, so please help him to create more of them. They are absolutely fantastic, and I have, funnily enough, spoken to him before he got MVP and asked him if I could use his maps, or the images of his maps, for upcoming system guide series, which I am currently doing. And very pleasant chap said yes straight away. Please go and show your love and your support with the links below. Finally, the sneak peek this week is a style board for the Xi'an ship. This shows sort of a visual representation or an interpretation of the inspiration they used for creating certain ships. This looks like it's for the Xi'an Scout, so check it out. Anyway, that was it for Around the Verse. Let's move on. So with the latest Alpha 2.0 and Star Marine update, they say that ships now split into 2 or more pieces, so you're now able to break ships into large chunks. Everyone has, as usual, been polishing and fixing bugs like crazy. They've recorded data log audio pieces for exploration gameplay, they say, and I believe this will be for the Kovalex shipping hub, which is supposed to be a game mode where you enter this hub and it's all derelict and you've got to find data recordings to figure out what's gone on. That does appeal to me very much. They're still working to get the EVA system feeling good, and in terms of AI, if a player strays too far from the UEE green zone, they may run into pirate trouble, or well, it says trouble in general, or you may get lucky, as it is systemic based where each encounter has its unique potential. So they're also seeing improvements to the FPS reload animations, ADS and start and stop. They say characters are feeling much better. The environment team are working on various space stations, final art stages, and the Kovalex shipping hub just had a full lighting pass. Crusader had further iterations to the repair bots and implementation of background traffic simulation, which makes it feel more alive. This does sound quite interesting. It says it'll help to give a buzz to the map with traders and UEE patrols zipping about, which sounds incredible. There's been vast improvements to the UI for in-ship screens, which will be ready to factor in new multi-crew gameplay. They say we'll soon have our hands on the first new engineering screen. This allows for greater control over the ship's power and shields, etc. It also allows you to turn your attention to individual screens situated around your station. So in terms of gameplay and engineering, they have improved escape behaviours when a ship hull gets heavily damaged. Characters' arms and camera relationship changed to improve the ADS and hip shooting. They've improved handling of ragdolling. Not sure how you improve that handling. Seems like an oxymoron. Quantum fuel is now supported over the network game. They've added a collision test before the start of quantum travel, which is pretty good. It'll inform you if any objects are between you and your destination. And they've also improved and polished the repair drone functionality. So UI, they have added quantum travel HUDs to most ships. There is now a fuel consumption amount, and they've also added an out of range message if you are trying to jump further than your fuel will allow. Also, basic implementation of engineering screen with power, shields, overview, and a minimized tab. In art, the further iterations to the Cutlass tally and the Constellation. This, they say, is the final step in the pipeline, which means we shall see them very soon. Also, final improvements to the environmental art and effects. So animation, they say there's more iterations on environmental interactions, EVA, FPS movement and gunplay, death and hit reactions, and fallen play. And I'm not sure what fallen play is. We saw that last week. If anyone has any ideas, please let us know in the comments. So in terms of audio, they have begun work on improving ship audio. They have implemented more music to improve the feel of areas. They're working on duress perimeters to be applied to your ship under certain circumstances, and I believe this will be something like alarms and warnings to tell you something's happening around your ship. They're also tweaking audio on FPS weapons and gadgets. They're expanding a variety of footsteps heard on surfaces, which is good, and also ongoing work to improve atmospheric qualities of space stations. Now the blockers they have specified is the character helmets are missing interior sections, ballistic weapons can cause a crash, and the push and pull system is conflicting with another control system as it appears to catapult you into deep space, which does need to be cleared up. So they say most of the focus has been on the Alpha 2.0. Next week they say they will be balancing the focus on Star Marine as well. But I am so excited to get this into our hands. It is going to be amazing. Anyway, tell me your thoughts. So also this week we saw a new galactic guide bringing us the Croshaw system. There was a new advocacy archive titled Glaive Attacks, which I am still to read unfortunately. Bug Smashers episode 13 is out, so do check the link below to learn more. And finally we had a post informing us about the release of the Alpha 1.3 to live, so check it out and get into Artcore. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for watching, and thank you to our subscribers, plus a massive thank you to our patrons as you make this possible. If you like what we do and want to help us make it better, follow the link in the description to our Patreon page to learn more.
you get the converters? White wants an ETA on that relay.
Right. I might need you to grab them from Webb while I finish taking a new pilot to the briefing room. Connie, new pilot. New pilot, Starman Connie Hayes.
The Morrow Experience Tour. Lucky you. I'll go speak to her.
Ah, you're the best, Connie. Oh, remind me to tell you about Claude later.
I'm sure you will.
The Stanton's been in service for a while now. Keeps us engineers busy. But I guess it's a hell of a lot more interesting than serving on a new ship where hardly anything needs fixing. Actually, little known fact. Back when Captain White was a starman, his first assignment was on the Stanton. When he got his commission later on, he requested her special.
As you can see, the Idris is quite a big ship.
Hey, Joaquin! You hear Claude's on punishment detail again? Apparently Kelly said this is his last chance.
Oh, what'd he do?
I'll tell you about it later, after I finish giving the new pilot a tour. Hey, you two haven't formally met yet, right?
Starman watching the stagger, sir. Hey, I better get this to the doc. I want to hear the rest.
Keem's a great guy. Amazing to think he was fiending on Widow a few years ago.
It's running hot.
There's something missing. The junction, right? But for some reason, it's spilling.
Woodrow just sent me an update. He's getting slurry.
This is me. But if you just keep heading straight on, round the bend and on the left is the briefing room. Check your mobile if you get lost. And feel free to swing by later if you get some time.
So, well, let's show the engine room here if we can. That'd be kind of cool. That's actually a
pilot. I think we're going to be best friends.
By the way, if you haven't figured it out, Morrow's the gossip aboard the ship. So this is sort of the level of attention to detail inside the Idris, which also is, by the way, the Idris everyone will fly in the persistent universe. And this has been built by Nathan Disley and his team at Squadron Foundry 42, not Squadron 42. So a whole bunch of really talented vehicle artists all been working, building the Idris. I think this is one of the airlocks that goes to the outside. There.
At ease. Now, Captain White likes to meet everybody who comes aboard his ship, but I wanted to have a quick word first. So why don't you take a seat? Little history lesson. Sealed in 2872, the Stanton is an Aegeus Idris-class frigate. She served with the 351st Battle Group for almost 6 decades, before transferring to the 87th Battle Group 10 years ago. In our last 2 assignments, we've gone from rescue and disaster relief in Ferron to perimeter sweeps along the Jeanne front. We handle all sorts of theatres, all sorts of situations. Now, some people have got big dreams of thrashing duel out with Bishop and think a post like this isn't worth their time, that this is a joke assignment. So I tell every new transfer this only once. We may be a small crew, but the work we do matters. And if you don't respect that, I'll make sure you spend your career scrubbing decks in the darkest corner of the Empire.